and clarity. Well, that explains a lot, I said, pushing the phone back toward her. Adam, I'm sorry, Lawrence said. I didn't know if I should tell you, but after everything, I couldn't keep it to myself. I appreciated her honesty, but I wasn't mad at her. None of this was her fault. Thanks for letting me know, I said, my voice calm. Too calm, probably. You okay? She asked, eyeing like she thought I might blow up. I nodded. Oh, I'm fine. Better than fine, actually. At least now I know the truth. The truth was I wasn't surprised. Somewhere deep down, I'd known something wasn't right for a while. Kendra had been acting weird for months. Distracted, defensive, picking fights over nothing. I chalked it up to wedding stress, but now it all made sense. She wasn't just stressed. She was guilty. And that slap, that wasn't just a moment of frustration. That was her trying to bait me, to give her an excuse to flip the script and make me the bad guy. She didn't want to be the one to end things because that would have made her the villain. So instead, she pushed me until I snapped, or at least until she thought I would. But the thing is, I didn't snap. Didn't give her that satisfaction. I stayed calm. I told her to pack her things and leave. And now, with Lauren's information, I knew I'd done exactly the right thing. I sat there in the cafe for a while after Lauren left, sipping my coffee and thinking about my next move. I wasn't going to confront Kendra right away. No, I wanted to see how she'd react when I didn't take the bait. She'd been trying to control the narrative since the breakup, painting herself as the victim and me as the unreasonable fiancé who couldn't handle the pressure. But now I had the upper hand, and I wasn't going to let her spin her lies any longer. By the time I got home, I had a plan, and I prefer to do this face-to-face on my terms. So I texted her, "We need to talk. Meet me at my place tomorrow at 7 p.m. She responded within minutes. Finally, I've been waiting for you to reach out. I knew you'd realize you overreacted. I didn't bother replying. Let her think what she wanted. Tomorrow, she was going to see just how wrong she was. The next day, just before 7 p.m., I clear my living room. The coffee table, usually cluttered with work papers, was empty except for a single printed photo sitting right in the center. Everything about the space was intentional, calm, controlled, deliberate. Kendra thrived in chaos, in shouting matches and emotional outbursts. But that wasn't my game. I was setting the terms. At 7 o'clock p.m. sharp, there was a knock at the door. I opened it, finding Kendra standing there in a dress I recognized immediately. It was the one she wore on our 3rd anniversary, back when things were good. She'd paired it with flawless makeup and her most disarming smile. The effort was obvious. She stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, her heels clicking against the floor. She said, "I'm glad you reached out. I knew you'd come to your senses." I motioned toward the couch, not responding. She hesitated for a moment, then walked over and sat down, her smile faltering slightly when she noticed the photo on the table. "What's this?" she asked, picking it up. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. The room was silent, except for the faint rustle of paper as she adjusted the picture. Her hands stiffened, her voice tightened. "Where did you get this?" "Does it matter?" She looked up, her confident demeanor cracking. "It's not what it looks like." "Then why don't you explain it to me?" She hesitated, the gears turning in her head as she searched for the right lie. Finally, she let out a small laugh, though it sounded hollow. "Adam, this is ridiculous. Chase is just a friend. Someone must have misunderstood what they saw." I stayed where I was, my face calm, my stance unshifting. The silence between us stretched uncomfortably long until she broke eye contact, looking down at the picture again. "Adam," she tried again, her tone softer now, almost pleading. "I know this looks bad, but I swear, stop." The word came out sharp, cutting her off. "Don't waste my time. We both know what this is, so why don't you drop the act and tell me the truth for once?" Her shoulders slumped slightly, and for the first time, she looked unsure. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter. "Fine, yes, I was with Chase, but it wasn't serious. I didn't mean for it to go anywhere." I pushed off the wall and took a step closer. "It wasn't serious," I repeated, my tone cold. "Then what was it? A hobby? A stress reliever? Explain it to me, because I want to know how cheating on your fiancé fits into your grand plan." Her lips trembled, but she quickly masked it with a defensive tone. I was overwhelmed. "Adam, the wedding, the planning, everything. I felt like I was drowning. And Chase, he was just there when I needed someone to talk to. Talk to? I said flatly, gesturing toward the photo on the table. You call that talking? She looked away, unable to meet my gaze. I didn't mean to hurt you, she whispered. No, I said, taking another step closer. You just didn't care enough not to. Her head snapped up, her expression a mix of anger and guilt. That's not fair, she said, her voice rising. I made a mistake, okay? But you weren't exactly perfect either. You were so distant, so focused on budgets and logistics. You didn't even notice how stressed I was. I tilted my head slightly, unfazed by her attempt to shift blame, and that stress justified lying, sneaking around, slapping me. Her face flushed, and she opened her mouth to respond. But no words came out. She wasn't used to being confronted like this, to having no room to wiggle out of the corner she'd back herself into. I get it now, I continued. The slap wasn't just a moment of anger, was it? You wanted me to react. You wanted an excuse to end this without having to take responsibility for anything. Am I wrong? Her silence spoke volumes. You wanted me to lose my cool, I said, leaning slightly closer. But I didn't, and I won't. And that's why you're here now, scrambling to salvage whatever narrative you thought you could control. Adam, please, she said, her voice breaking as tears welled in her eyes. I messed up. I know I did, but we can fix this. I'll do whatever it takes. I straightened, taking a step back. Fix what, Kendra? The trust, the respect. You think those things just snap back into place? This isn't something you fix. This is who you are, and I'm not interested in being part of it. She stood up abruptly, her voice rising again. So that's it. You're just going to throw everything away? For years, Adam? For years? And you're going to walk away over one mistake? This wasn't one mistake. This was a series of choices. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose to cross the line when I didn't give you the reaction you wanted. This isn't me throwing anything away. This is me walking